Hello everyone, this is Ann, and in this video I'm going to show you how to trace a full color image and then convert it to an SVG file. So let's get started. The first thing we want to do is click on File, then Open. We want to navigate to where our files are and then select the file, but I'm going to go ahead and type in part of the name down here. I thought I had Lilo and Stitch. There we go. And then click Open. I don't do anything with the default. I leave it as is and click OK. And it does resize itself for some reason, but it does that, so don't worry about it. Just keep clicking that middle button. And here we go. We've got full color here. So you'll click on the image, then go to Path, Trace Bitmap. It brings up a preview. I like to look at the preview so that I can tell if there's going to be any gaps in the lines, because if there are, I'm not going to be able to create it as a separate piece. I'll need to work on it first. The threshold defaults to 45, and usually that's a pretty decent trace, but after doing it for a while, you'll begin to see, like right around here, it doesn't look like all of these are completely enclosed. And I'll just show you. Click on OK, and let's drag it over here. 45 did pretty good. And I'm just checking to see if there's any openings in my lines anywhere. Let me click on this original, move it over, take a look at Stitch. Stitch looks like right here we may run into a problem with his ear, but then that's a good thing, so I can show you exactly how to do it. So I'm going to just say OK with 45. And then I'll X out of it because I don't need it. I'm going to drag the trace over to the design window, and I'm just moving the original over. Wait, looks like I've got two, so hit delete. And let me get the trace. There we go. I don't get rid of my original image until I'm comfortable that my trace is going to work out just fine. So now that I have it traced and I'm satisfied with it, I need to break it into all these different pieces so that when I go to cut it, I can then cut it by color. So in order to break it into all the pieces, you'll click on Path, Break Apart. Everything turns black, and that's exactly what it's supposed to do. That's when you know your traces are really good trace, when everything is black. If there is any white in it, it means it's a broken line. There's a gap in the line, and you're going to need to fix it. All of these little dotted boxes are just bounding boxes to show you where pieces are at that we're going to need to color in, and we're only doing that just to make sure that all of the pieces are indeed there and they match what we see over here in the original image. So I'm just going to click off of it, and now the objective is to find these pieces and highlight them and then color them so that when we're done it looks exactly like this. So you can just click randomly anywhere, you know, unless your memory is super good to know where the pieces are, and then you can begin to color. So in order to do that, just click on an area, and you can, if you think that any of your colors here, these are the standard color palettes, but if you slide this to the right, it gives you even more colors to choose from. But these are the standard. So I'm trying to get this color in her face, so let's see how close I am. Nope, that's not going to work. That isn't going to work. So you can spend a lot of time trying to get the exact color, because really it's irrelevant, because you're going to cut it the color of your actual vinyl. But being a perfectionist that I am, and because this is a tutorial, I want to show you exactly how to get these colors to match. Come down here to where the double arrows are, click on it, select Dropper. While the area is highlighted on the trace, go over to the original and click on that color, and that's how you get that color. Then go back and click on the select tool. So now we can find some more places and guess on what they are. Or when I first started, I just painted everything white just to see, and then I would go back later and paint things in color. That's one way that you can do it, but here's a cheat tip for you. This edit node tool has become my best friend, because when you click on it and you move it around, it shows you where all of your pieces are and eliminates some of the guesswork with it. So let's see, because doing everything white is like, the dress is white, the leaves are white, and we know that that's not the way it's supposed to be. So I'm going to work on Stitch, and I've gotten one of his arms. I see the other one here. So I've highlighted one. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and click on the other, and I'm going to go back to my dropper because I want it to be the exact color, and now I have his arms. So click on the select key, get back to this node, and now I'm doing his face, and it looks like the face is the same color as the arm. So instead of having to go back to the original, I already have that color now on my trace, so I can just click there, and that way I would have it. And you can already tell that his ear should be pink. It should not have been blue. And what's happened is there's not a distinction in the line between the ear and his face. I think I moved that a little bit, so let me shift it back. But we'll fix that later, so don't stress out about it. Now let's get the inside color of his eye. Got that. And can you see just how easy it is to do this coloring? Once you get your trace, life is good from that point on, unless you have some broken lines that are there. So we have her dress now. Let's grab her, both her arms. I don't need to go over here because I have her face already colored. So I have them. So now it's just finding these leaves, and I click on one, I hold the Shift key down, and I'm clicking where the others are, and then I'm just going to click the color white so that I have it. I can see the white of her eye here, and it looks like up here. So I'm going to finish coloring it, and then I'll come back and show you how we're going to fix his ear, because you may run into the same issue. Okay, I've completed coloring everything that had a separate piece there. But as you compare the two pictures, this is the original and this is the trace. You'll notice that I was not able to color in this particular area on Stitch. His nose, if you notice, I don't have both of those colors on it. And it looks like with her mouth, her tongue is in there. So let's increase this so that we can get a better look at it. Down maybe a little bit. Yeah, it does look like she has a little red in there. And so how I found out that I didn't have those pieces was just moving this node tool over it. Whenever I highlighted it, it took his whole arm. So I knew that wasn't right, and we know that his ear isn't right. And so let's go ahead and fix those things while we're at it. Also, this is just an empty area here, but it's not here. When I colored in his face, it colored the ear and that empty area. So let's just go ahead and take care of that now. And the way that we're going to do that is using this Bezier tool, which looks like a pen. And what we're going to do is we're going to finish the lines where it was not as distinct before. And that's just with the outline of his ear. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually draw my line from here all the way down to where his other area is, and just double click it, and it gives me the line. I click on my select, and so now I'm going to click on it and click again, and it'll allows me to move it a little bit. So I'm just gonna try to curve it over a little to where it just kind of lines up. And that's something that, you know, you'll just have to play around with it. But if you double click, that gives you the arrows to be able to rotate it. Okay, so that's close enough for me. So now that I've done this, what I'm going to have to do is to close in this gap. And that's what I mean when you hear me say about the resolution of a picture that I wasn't able to really trace it well, is because this one here, if you can see, is not smooth lines. It's kind of jagged lines around it. The resolution was not the very best. And what happens is, especially for a perfectionist like me, I want to make sure that what I give you looks good. I have to go in and do all of this extra work. So when you can find one with thick black lines outlining it, it takes less time, and I'm able to deliver a much better trace, which means that you get a really good SVG file. So now that I've made those changes to it, here is what we can now do. We're going to go back to this paint bucket or the fill tool, as it's called. I call it the paint bucket. And we're going to click on it, and we're going to fill in these spaces now that were once open because of gaps. And once if it fills it in completely, then life is going to be good, and that's going to cut as a separate piece, and then I can color it the appropriate color. So I'm going to click, and it filled in perfectly for me. So that's good. So while I have that filled in, I'm going to click on those double arrows, get to the dropper tool, and just go over here and click on his ear. Now that's fixed. Okay, and I'll go back to the select tool. And then let's see, this part here, back to the paint bucket, and we should be able to fill it in. And this filled in way too much for me, so I have to go up here and adjust the thresholds. So I'm going to click Edit, Undo that fill I just did, and I'm going to just kind of drop this down maybe to 12, and I'll try to do the fill again. It didn't go as far, but it went further than what I wanted. So maybe 8 might be the magic number, because this is a small area, and that didn't quite get it either. But you see what you have to go through. The grow shrink area, I put like 10, and what that means is how close to the line the fill will go. And that really didn't make that much of an impact. So let's see here, 4 maybe. And you see, by going smaller, that got the color, but it's right on the line. So you probably would be okay with it. But again, like I say, that's just that crazy perfectionist part of me. So I'm now going to go to my dropper tool and click over here, and I have it. Okay. And so let me scroll over a little bit, and now we just need to do his nose, and then get rid of this area here. And I think with this tutorial, I probably have shown you most of the little hiccups that you're going to encounter. So let's do his nose. I'm going to hold the Shift key down and do that second part of his nose. And it didn't quite get it in that area, if you can see. So I'm going to click it again a couple of times to try to get that little small area to fill. And then I will click on my select tool, and it's going to bring both pieces over here for me, and I'll just position them where they are. And because they're two different colors, I'm just going to go here and just say break those two pieces apart. Now I can color one, I can color them, you know, they're separate colors. So that's one, and click here, go back to the dropper, and that looks like it's a darker color. Okay, so I fixed what I think were all of the little hiccups. So let's just shrink it back down and give a quick look to see what else might be needed. And so far it looks pretty good, except for This white area here should be a cutout, and you see that it's still there. But because I close those lines, when I do this fill bucket, it should color it for me, and it does. So that's a good thing. And so what I'm going to do now is just click on it, and I need to highlight the entire image, and it's hard finding it, but I think if I click her hair, it will. You need to have the entire image selected, and along with the piece that you want to cut out, and then go to path and difference. Oh, and it didn't do it. So why did it not take that part out for me? So just try it again. Oh, because it was closed in before. Okay, so I'm going to have to just color this one white. But usually I should be able to just highlight the entire thing and then click on the piece that I want to get rid of so that it's like a cutout. If you use the Cameo, it would be similar to Make Compound Path. Highlight it, both pieces, then go to Path and Difference. And I'll tell you where else you use this at. It's whenever you trace words or numbers, like the letter A has that center piece up at the top, or a B has two center pieces, and once you trace it, you're going to need to get rid of those, because if not, it's going to convert as one solid piece. And I'm sure I'll be doing another tutorial to show you that. But this one looks really good. The only thing I see now is the DWW for the gentleman that actually created the file. And these, I find all of these, oh, I can't remember the website, but I will, once I remember where they are, I'll post it for you. And that's a great place for you to go and find images to trace. But I'm just trying to get rid of this now. So I'm just going to click on it, and I'm hitting the delete key. That's all that I'm doing. Several little layers of it. Trying to get there. So let me go here and see. Nope, because that's part of the dress. So that's in there. So now it looks like I've done all that I can do to this trace. Just going to shrink it back down to size. When you open some of my conversions and the image is so big, you'll know that I just forgot to shrink it back down when I was done. So now everything looks good. I'm happy. I'm satisfied. I can delete the original. I'm going to highlight the whole thing and go to Object, Group, File, Save As, and always save as a plain SVG. And what that means is that this is the generic format that will open up in anyone's, and I'm hitting replace because I've already been saving, in anyone's software that recognizes SVG. And the one thing about Inkscape is it crashes all the time. So as you do a few steps, save. Just continually save, because if not, and it crashes, it will only bring back whatever the status was of the last save. So this one is now done, except for with me, I always take my snipping tool, that was something else I was working on, and make a picture of it. And that's just me. I don't like getting files and can't look at it to determine if it's something that I need. So I'm going to save it now. I think it was just in groups, as my Lilo and Stitch, and as you can tell, it's already here as SVG for me. So another way I just cheat with the name, or too lazy to type, I just get rid of what the other extension was and just click save. So this file is ready, and I will be sharing it in the groups. I hope that I have been able to encourage you to want to try Inkscape. If you have any questions at all, just post them and I'll do my very best to answer them for you. Thank you. Oh, I did forget one thing. I had it over here. This design box is very important. After you have converted the file to SVG, in order for it to show up in the preview, it has to be inside of this design box. So remember that. And anytime you make any kind of change to your SVG, you always have to go back and save it again. So thank you for watching.